Yes, resuscitation. All the things that are bad have done. What a dilemma. We got to get this country moving. Let's put it back together. Yes, we got a country to build. In our hearts and minds, we must instead. We got to start and make preparation to undertake the great task of rebuilding this nation. It will be a long and hard struggle uphill, but we got this country to build. Tell you.
WEFM, the new fresh sound.
WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
And the time right now, SVG, it is 7:45, and that means it's time for us to hear our commentary from Mr. Lyf Compton. Lyf, morning.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Dianna. With me, Nicole is listening.
Yeah, she's on this morning.
Good morning, Lyf.
Morning to all the people of the So, Roleza.
What with Lyf?
I have to admit that I was proven wrong. My prediction for the election was wrong. I have to admit. I was very, 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 very wrong.
Before you continue, though, what was your prediction in terms of the votes, the distribution of the constituencies? What was that?
I had predicted 7 losses and the losses for the ULP.
Okay.
And 8 losses here. So I think a lot of people were surprised by the significant loss in both games. But as it is, that's what the people wanted. That's what happened, and we now have a new government in the form of the Democratic Party and the Prime Minister in the form of Dr. Gordon Friday, and we are sure respect that of the electorate.
Okay, Lyf, we're not hearing you. One second now. Lyf, we're not hearing you. You sound a little bit distorted slightly.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure what's causing that.
Okay.
Because I'm hearing an echo.
Oh, okay. All right.
So yes, that's what we have. We have a new government, and this new government made certain promises while in opposition. And what most people should be focused on now is these promises and how they will be implemented and how they're going to influence the lives of its citizens. Everybody would admit that at times there is a lot of pricing of something, but cost of living is really high. So a lot of people are looking forward to some of the promises. One of the major promises looking forward is double pay for Christmas. Everybody wants to see how that one is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that with this new government, I think people are more willing to hold them accountable for whatever they say. I'm getting that kind of feeling that people are willing to hold them accountable. I think the choice of the electorate shows governments that you are not all powerful, and at the end, it comes down to the electorate. But one of the things that I notice is continuing is the disrespect, the ridicule, and what has also spilled over is that ministers are not saying and doing things. The supporters are the ones that seems to have started to create certain issues and are scaring people. We saw a video online where there was some government is out in what I think, where they had workers and other people from the community went there and telling them it was time for them to move, time for them to leave, or whatever. But it doesn't work like that.
Lyf, just to interrupt you here with that video, because there were two videos. One was done by the government worker and one was done by, it seems, a member of the community. And what the person was saying is the night before they had started they brought a truck. They said this is what they said, that the people brought a truck or more than one, and they were moving away the materials that they were supposed to be watching, that's supposed to be rebuilding the homes. So they were upset and saying that they should be removed. The police officer came. The police officer was explaining to the person videoing that if they are government workers, then they don't have a right to tell them to move. Even though they may be upset about the materials being taken out, they don't have a right to tell them to move because they are government workers and the government is not a political party. And the lady was listening. She said, okay. So, I don't condone the part where they're telling the people that they should go out, but the problem there was they're saying that the watchman was not doing their job. They were allowing the persons to jog out the materials, and they had told them that they were going to jog out the materials.
What their video showing?
If what?
There was a video showing the material get moved also?
No, well, I never said there was a video showing it. I was just giving you the other part of the bacchanal, right, if you could call it that.
So, right. Well, I normally don't like to comment on the part that I didn't see. You understand what I mean? So if they were in fact moving the material, that was wrong. So yesterday again, there's a certain ministry, and somebody went to the ministry, went to the office to get some equipment to do something government related, and people were saying, "Oh, why you going there? You're supposed to go there again. Government don't change or whatever," which is not how it works, because the court is a civil servant and they were actually connected equipment to do their job. But the job continues, and just continues as a public servant. So we see this kind of picture where people seem to be thinking that because the government has changed, that the civil servants within you as supporters of the farmer company should they lose their job, to take their post, and other people, new people, are going to get these positions. Not all positions like that. There are obviously positions that have to be vacated and must be vacated, and any right-thinking person would agree and understand why these positions must be vacated. But people need to understand that not all positions are going to be vacated or should be vacated. Should be vacated. It's that simple. But as I was saying before, the Democratic Party came into power under the promise that they have a six-way plan and they're going to achieve and do certain things. So I think a lot of people are looking forward to it. A lot of people are not saying that it's not going to happen, A lot of people are looking forward to it because a lot of these changes, a lot of these plans will definitely ease some of the burden from pension. So a lot of people are looking forward to these plans and hoping that they are actually implemented. But as I said, I hope that we do not enter into another 5 days of the kind of political climate that we have probably for the last 10, 15 years in cities where pensions seem to always be in a position, in a political atmosphere and a politically charged atmosphere. I hope that changes. I actually hope that changes. But maybe that's just wishful thinking, because I'm seeing a lot of, it's been 25 years on the Labour Party, and yes, there are people that are disgruntled. But there are also people who were supporters of the Unity Labour Party, outspoken supporters of the Unity Labour Party, who all of a sudden now, they are holding up, this is actually kind of funny, they're holding up NDP colors and saying, oh, we were always supporters of the at the Democratic Party. We just got scared, we just got frightened. You know, that's why we successful. And I find that kind of sad. I find it kind of sad because people are expected to be victimized because of their stance in the past and what party they supported in the past. But what should be mentioned is that during his speech, when Prime Minister Dr. Gordon Friday was sworn in, he basically said that it's not a situation where we want to victimize anybody or we want us split in the country. We want everybody to work together now. So basically saying rest assured there is not going to be victimization. Now, this is where the ministers come in. Because as I said before, we've seen it on the USP, and I hope that we don't see it under the NDP, that the ministers themselves don't do anybody anything. And I think I said this on the show before, it's the minions, supporters of the party, who intentionally try to make it hard for who they think are their political opponents. It happened on the ULP a lot. And as I said, I don't think the ministers were aware what was happening. But I hope that is kept a lid on under this, because we don't really need that right now. And as the now opposition leader, Dr. Rav Gunstar, said, 44% of the voters still voted for the Labour Party. So we can see basically still a kind of half split in the country, although the NDP was successful. We can just say, so we don't want that, victimization thing starting, people against people starting, because we can have some serious issues with the country still being politically divided like that. It's half basically still. But because of the unequal distribution of votes and constituencies and whatnot, we have the NDP taking an overwhelming victory. And it was actually a very overwhelming victory. We saw constituencies that we actually thought were strongholds of the ULP. We saw candidates losing by 1,000 and something votes, 1,200 and something votes. Dr. Orlando Brewster in Central Leeward, he lost by the least amount. He lost by 48 votes. But it was an overwhelming victory for the NDP, and it was something that many people did not see coming. But the electorate have spoken overwhelmingly of who they want to govern. And as I said, we are looking forward to how it will go over the next 5 years. So that's my contribution.
All right. Thanks, Lyf. I would comment on a few things in a bit. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Lyf with his commentary for today. It was a mix of certain things. One of them being, how will the NDP implement their new plans and promises? Any thoughts?
Well, I suppose the NDP will implement their plans and promises in the same way that the ULP did. One of the things that Lyf mentioned is, us having, the people against people, which we shouldn't have. But unfortunately, it has already started that way. And I am really hoping that at least after Christmas, we could go back to being Vincentians together, because it's just leave it there.
All right, so let me start with that last point that Lyf made first. When he spoke about certain constituencies being strongholds of the ULP, which was why, for me, the NDP victory was not a surprise, but the margin of win was what was the surprise, right? And this is why, when I said in the first segment that part of me wonders if a lot of persons voted anti-former PM Gonsalves. If this was what is it that's happened, because when I looked at constituencies like Brewster's for Central Leeward and Jimmy Prince for Mariqual, to see that they actually lost those constituencies was what was a surprise to me. So, it would be great if somehow we could get a poll done to indicate why it is people voted the way which they did. But yeah, that is why it is. I kind of made mention of maybe it was an anti-former PM vote that happened, right? Lyf also made a point about new supporters emerging, or persons who claim to have been former ULP supporters now proudly saying that they're NDP supporters. One of the things that I was happy with during the election season was how vocal persons were, particularly on social media, right? And a lot so amongst the young persons who are not afraid to voice their opinions. And I think one of the things parties need to realize is that when it comes to young people, they already hold allegiance to a party, all right? Persons are going to, many young persons, the allegiance thing, I find that is more something of our parents and our grandparents. When it comes to more young persons, I guess you like our young people, if they like a walk, they just up and leave and they go find something else. Whereas back in the days of our parents, they would hold on to this job, get up every day, suck their teeth because, they just want to work until they retire and then hopefully enjoy it. Young people not doing that, right? And I think it's the same way in which they vote, in that it depends on what policies you put forward to them or put forward to us, that we are going to vote for you. It's not, I am holding strong to voting for NDP. I'm holding strong to voting for ULP. It depends on what it is put forward. So both parties have to be concerned about that. That's how the political allegiance voting, that was a thing of the past. And remember now, as we're getting older, those persons of the past are also dying out. So parties need to make mention of that. But take note of that. But I was quite happy to see that many persons were on social media. They were voicing their opinions. Of course, I'm not in agreement with you calling out people in terms of being defaming people's character, personality, or physical traits, etc. I like people to be able to debate points based on points, or debate based on issues. But I was happy to see that a lot of that discussion was happening on social media. All right. Going back to the point of the victimization and persons thinking that they're going to lose their jobs. No. If you are a civil servant, you are expected to turn up for work today. All right? Even if the administration has changed, you are a civil servant, you're expected to do your work. You're expected to do your work and you're supposed to be doing your work properly. And you're supposed to be doing your work properly. There's another word that comes to mind, but it's slipping me right now. Because you are being paid to do your job. Whether or not you are civil servants or working in private sector is the same thing. You are being paid, you're supposed to be doing your work, regardless of whichever administration is there. And I find it interesting to note that some ULP persons are talking about victimization when during the campaigns, when the campaign was happening, the campaign season was happening, many ULP persons were talking about the NDP going to do away with certain policies and programs. And I'm saying, the thing of it is that why is it a case where you are putting forward, or you're saying that if the NDP gets into power, that they're going to do away with such programs and policies? Or why is that being put out as opposed to saying that they're going to keep them and build on them? So you see, it's like when the show is on a different foot, persons have a different opinion or they state things differently.
What was more interesting about the victimization thing for me is NDP supporters have been talking about victimization for years and they were always lying. Nobody was to believe them. They're just bad-minded. They're anti-Ralph, they're anti-ULP. Nobody must believe them. Certainly cannot be true. Victimization, where? Not here. But as soon as ULP supporters start crying victimization, then everybody's supposed to believe them now. Oh my God, really? Wow, wicked. This should never happen, That is the most interesting thing for me. And that's one of the most upsetting things right now. And this is among adults, mature, supposed to be mature adults or parents and grandparents. Anything NDP supporters say, you must never believe them. It's a lie. Anything ULP supporters say, it's the gospel. It must be true. And how could adults, we have to sort this thing out?
Yeah. Right. So as Lyf said, and I think as many persons are hoping, is that we are going to see a change in the climate within SVG. All right. NDP in particular has been saying that they're not going to be engaging in a type of politics of the past and type of politics that we've seen over the past few decades. And that is what it is that I am hoping for. I really and truly am hoping for a society of togetherness. And another thing that let me just say very, very quickly is, for some persons out there, I'm hearing, not even getting the sense, I'm hearing of them wanting to see the NDP fail. And in wanting to see the NDP fail, what does that mean for our nation?
In the country that they live in, wow.
Right? But we will take that up in the next segment. So we are going to head on out. We notice that there are a few persons calling. We are going to get to those calls in the next segment. All right, so time here in SVG, it is 8:04, and our time check came to you with the compliments of New Haven Funeral